Oh, good. We are live, and we're going to be live streaming some creation process here for the Goblin Slayer, the tabletop role-playing game, oddly enough. Yeah, let's put some music on. I might have to adjust some volumes personally here. Let's see here. It's going to get really loud for me. It's going to get real loud for everyone else. You can turn that down as well. So it's just some background music. Yes, using tabletop audio for the background music for today because I don't want to trigger anything from any content claims or whatever from YouTube, and tabletop audio is pretty cool about that. So check the description for the link to tabletopaudio.com. It's pretty easy to get there. In any event, let's get into what we're doing today, which is going to be spell creation and manipulation. And with that, I'm going to be recreating some spells. I already had this worked out in a previous section, but because I'm working at a different section today rather than my other computer, I'll have to recreate some spells, unfortunately. So I'm going to start with a Word of True Power. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Goblin Slayer, the interesting part here is that there are 4 different types of magic, similar to 5e or Pathfinder, where you have, Arcana, Primal, Occult, and, Tales of the Valiant uses Weird instead of Occult, or Divine. There's also Divine. We have Words of True Power, which are basically your Arcana spells, Miracles, which are Divine. Then you have Ancestral Dragon. I'm not entirely sure where Ancestral Dragon lands in this, so this is an interesting one. I don't really know these spells too well. And then Spirit Arts are similar, I would guess, to maybe Primal Magic. That seems to be the case, at least from the manga and the Lizardman Shaman, who is constantly, so far, summoning up Skeletal Warriors. It's kind of almost necromancy in a sense, but there's also some other things. So I'm sure once I get into reading some more of the spells, I'll see what's going on here. But let's go ahead and check out what it's like to create a spell for the Foundry edition here of this game here. So what we have here right now is our character sheet, which is already padded out with a whole bunch of stuff. Ironically enough, this human female, and the artwork here for the human female is from Trash Mob Minis, so check out his work too. Awesome stuff. If I don't have it in the description, I will add it later on because he is definitely worth the artwork. Giving him a couple bucks a month on Patreon. I have to jump back into that actually. So we got our name here, Scar. We have our rank, which can be changed from a drop down. This will be updated later on so that you can only pick what is available for your level and some other things. So this is going to be something that gets updated later on. We have our sidebar here of wounds, your rolled life force. So when you create your character, you roll out however many hit points you're going to have. And then the reason why there's life and 2x here is because these two mimic each other until you get there's one skill called Hardiness that adds 5, 10, up to, I think, 30 extra hit points, technically, of life force. So that will be modified here and modified here as well. So the 2x for this states, whenever you reach over 25 points of damage, you start taking extra wounds from fatigue. You take extra fatigue or attrition. It's one of the two. I don't quite remember exactly which. But your maximum amount of damage you can ever take before you are dead is 50. So there's no unconscious state similar to Pathfinder and 5th edition, Tales of the Valiant, probably even 5e Advanced. It's just you've got all these life points up to a maximum of twice what you rolled. And if you ever go over that, your character's done. That's it. There's no second chances. It's just one and done. Then we also have movement. You roll your movement at the beginning of character creation. Actually, you roll a bunch of d6s, and there's 3 sets initially. You pick one of the 3 sets is for your life force, one is for movement, and one is for the amount of spells you can use in a day. So the movement also gets modified by your racial pick, and then it gets modified by what you're wearing. So at the moment, you'll see that Scar currently has rolled an 18, but the actual modified movement that they can go for is a total of 14 meters. The game's run in meters, which, not a big deal, but that's just how it is. And then this is the spell resistance. This is calculated based off of 2 of the ability scores here, plus your level, and then plus 1 skill. I think I have the skill set. No, I don't have the skill set here. I had it on my other computer. But basically, once you have that, anytime you're hit with a spell, you can roll this to resist the spell. I actually need to modify that. Actually, I don't have the hand pointer for this, which is funny. So that'll be something we'll do right now. After I've done explaining this, I'll get into modifying this a little bit so this pops up like all the others here. So you'll see how anything that you can roll or click on will have the hand and highlights. I forgot to do that with spell resistance here. So it may not seem like a lot, but this is going to be +5 to a d20 roll. Or not, excuse me, not a d20, 2d6. The game runs on 2d6s, so every other game system I've been playing, you can kind of get the idea of what's going on here. So at the moment, this spell resistance is coming from 1 plus, I think it's intelligence focus, or maybe psyche reflex. I don't remember exactly which. And then when you start your character, you get an immediate 3,000 experience to play with. Because this game, it's funny. Your primary level is your adventurer level, and you start at level 1. When you start the game, you have 0 levels in every class, and there's only 8 classes for the base book. There is a supplemental 1 or 2 books that are currently only in Japanese. I'd like to get the books and try and translate them to add in the extra stuff, so that's going to be something well far into the future. And then this last part here is advancement points. The advancement points, you get 15 initially when you create your character, and you use those 15 points to buy skills. So everything is bought with experience and points. The funny part is that the game is kind of a milestone and XP all at the same time. So the only way to get XP for your to level up and get more classes is to complete quests. And if you complete the quest, you get the experience. If you don't complete the quest, you don't get any experience, which kind of annoying, but as a consolation prize, you always get advancement points, regardless if you fail or succeed in a quest. So you start with 15, you buy your skills, and then pass or fail on the quest, you will get 3 more every quest. Now, the cumulative points here never get depleted. You never spend those. That just keeps track to let you know how many points you've gained over the course of your adventurer's life, and it helps you decide, when you can level up your rank from porcelain all the way to platinum. The current points are what you actually spend. So when you first start spending your points, you can spend 1,000 to gain 1 level in every skill or every class, and then it's another 1,000 to go to level 2, and then it's 15, and then so on and so forth, a little further along the line to level all the way up to a maximum of level 10. Yes, this game only goes to level 10. And then underneath that, I have the initiative roll and the stealth roll. Initiative is just purely 2d6. Nothing modifies it except for 1 skill, which I may have programmed in it already. And then, as you'll see here on the right side, I've been testing rolls and whatnot. But yes, if we roll initiative, we get 2d6 coming out, and you can see on the side here, just, we rolled an 8 for initiative. Combat and initiative is very interesting, but we'll not go over that. And then we have the stealth check. The stealth is based off of 2 things. So when we click on stealth, we have a prompt. Are we doing a long-term stealth, like hiding and waiting to ambush someone? We would use technique endurance. If we're doing a quick reflexive technique, or a quick short-term stealth, like while we're in combat, then we would use technique reflexes. It doesn't really matter, in the case of what I'm showing you here, but what it does is the game will then take a look at the stats based off of whichever we choose, long-term or short-term, grab the TE or the TR. So we would say, all right, let's take a look at technique plus the reflexes. So we have a 5 for our technique reflex or a 7 for technique endurance. Now, all of these numbers are just arbitrary. I threw them in there just to have some numbers in place. So if we were in combat and we needed to hide all of a sudden really quickly, we click short term, it would then roll the dice for us, and it would go through and check certain things. So I believe it's scouts and for short scout, but I'm not sure. I can't remember if it's monk or ranger. One of the two adds in their level to the roll. So for instance, the stealth check here was just 2d6 plus 5. So, all right, so it must be monk and scout. So if I were to add in 1 to monk, let's see what happens when I roll a stealth again. Yeah, there we go. So we're getting the 5 here from technique reflex, and then we're also getting +1 for having monk level 1. So the game, I've coded the game out to know certain things about certain rolls. It's been pretty fun. Now in the center here we have our stats. Just like you would have stats for Pathfinder, 5e Advanced, TOV, or 5e, we have Strength, Psyche, Technique, and Intelligence. These are your primary 4 stats. We don't have a Constitution, and we don't have a Charisma. Those would come into play elsewhere. Maybe Technique might be used for Charisma. Strength is definitely used for Constitution checks. And then as our secondary abilities, we have Focus, Endurance, and Reflexes. Focus is primarily when you're trying to do something. Something quick that you need, like for instance, firing a bow and arrow. That would be your technique focus. So you could click that for a straight roll from there. It doesn't, anything you click here in these 12 spots don't actually get any other modifiers, just the combination of the 2 plus the 2d6. Endurance is for when you need to do something long term, like rowing a boat or trying to hide a trap, reading or studying a room, searching for something. If you were searching for something, you would probably use Intelligence Endurance to search and find. Psyche, I have to look into Psyche again. I don't quite recall. I think this is probably going to be your wisdom, so to say. The game does have a check for what was it? A sixth sense check, and I believe that comes from Psyche. So the Psyche is kind of your wisdom modifier in a sense. And then after endurance of doing things for a long extended period of time, we then have reflexes, and these are basically your saves. Anytime you need to, save from falling rocks or try to stop something from pushing into you, these are your reflex saves. So these are always going to be your saves, just like in Pathfinder 5th edition and whatnot. Then below here we have our adventures and completed. We mark these for how many adventures we've been on and how many of these have been completed. So this is our basically win-loss ratio. If they're even, you've been winning all along, and the only time you start to lose is when you don't complete a mission. And it is very possible to not be able to complete a mission, unfortunately, because of how easy it is to die in this game, at least from the way it seems so far. So you keep track of those, and this helps you also know when you can rank up to the next level. After that, we have our attrition track, and after each round of combat, you start ticking up attrition. And if you're wondering why are some of these boxes highlighted in red, it's because once you've hit one of those, you then start ticking on fatigue. So the first few rounds of combat, roughly the first 4 rounds of combat, nothing bad really happens. But the first time you get to you get to 5 points of attrition, you get your first point of fatigue. Now there's other ways to get fatigue, and other ways you can gain and lose fatigue and attrition a variety of ways, especially for like long rests, which reminds me, I have to add in a rest button somewhere. All right, I'm gonna have to make a note of that. Let's see here. I'm doing this off on the side. You know what? No, let me pull up a notepad real quick. There we go. Add in short/long rest button to character sheet. There we go. Okay, so that'll be good to have for later on. And then if you're wondering how the fatigue works. It's very similar to 5th edition and the exhaustion. If you hover over the 1, it'll show you what happens. So once you've hit your 5th or 6th fatigue, and I'll explain the grayed out box here in a second. Once you get your 5th fatigue here and you have them all clicked in, you get -1 to all scores. Now this hasn't been factored yet into the game, so this isn't going to be correct. Now the only thing I have to check in is if it's -1 to all scores, does that mean we go across the top and the bottom? So technically you're getting -2 to all of your calculated scores? That seems to be the case. And then when you hit rank 2 of fatigue, you lose -2 to all checks, plus -1 to all scores, and your movement speed is halved. At 3, you get -3, your life force is halved, as well as your movement. At 4, you have -4 to all checks, and you're unconscious. It's kind of silly to have -4 and also be unconscious, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. And that once you hit 5, you're dead. That's it. And the only way to not die on your first level 5th level fatigue is to have this extra here. And that comes from a skill. So you have to first buy the skill that gives you your first level of extra fatigue, and then you have to rank it up to level 5 to get all 5 of these available. That takes a lot of that takes a lot of advancement points to get up to the 5th level here. Plus you have to be a certain level and maybe even a certain rank. I don't quite remember. Hey, Hair Doctor, thanks. I just happened to see that. Yes, I am the Goblin, and hopefully you guys won't be slaying me. Thomas Swain, hello, buddy. Good to see you here. As I explain Goblin Slayer a little bit, going through the sheet that I'm creating here. And then we go on to the other stuff. We have items and scores on the side. These are just a bunch of combinations. So, for instance, for the melee, only fighters, monks, and scouts can use melee weapons properly. All classes can use melee weapons. It's just fighter, scout, and monk get their level as a bonus to hit. The same for throwing, projectiles. The funny thing is that rangers are the only ones that can use bow and arrows properly. Everyone else doesn't get their level. And then for dodging and blocking, which are rolls from your armor here, I'll have to mark these with dice or something so that they're visible to see that you can roll off of those. But yes, with the armor, you get -1s to your modifiers and negatives and positives to your modifiers as well as your movement. So hence why, because currently right now Scar's wearing bishop robes, she has a -4 to her movement. We've got all these things going on here. So a bunch of this stuff is rollable. I'll have to put dice next to them to make sure that they are noticeable, that they're rollable. And then you got the money, and we got a loot section here. Then we have our skills. Right now, the only skills I have in here are what was inherited from the human race. The rest of this stuff doesn't, that's all for character creation right now. But just to show you guys, if we delete it here, there's a little spot that says, hey, drop a race in here. And then we lose all of our skills. So let me go ahead and just, where am I going here? Race. Drop this back into here. And now we have our human race back. And we have our skills back. Now we just have to reset these. So these are how you level up. When you level up your skills, you'll increase the rank here, and then you'll get bonuses. So everyone always starts at level 1 rank for skills, and I'll probably have to change that in the background so that it's not a 0. But yeah, so for instance, humans have weapon throwing, encumbered action, and long distance movement. And if you pause the video, if you're watching this later on or reading this now, you can see what these skills give you. So you get these ones for free, and then you can buy more with advancement points. And I think it's 3 for general skills and 5 for adventurer skills. Yeah. Anyways, so then we have our descriptions, and then we have, like I said, we have our items here. These are all drag and drop. You can delete them, modify them a little bit. But let's get into creating some spells here, because that's what I need to do. I need to work on the spells at the moment. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and create a spell for each of these. And We'll call this one, I already picked out the first one for our words of true power, and this is going to be enchant weapon. Okay, so this is the basic sheet if you ever create, if you have to create them on your own. Hopefully when, I'd like to say probably around version 2 of this mod, I will have a compendium full of all of these so that they're ready to go. You just drag and drop from the sidebar, so you don't have to worry about going through here and fixing all of these yourself. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and create just a couple examples for each, well, just one for each one, and then I'm going to see about getting these spells to actually go and do their thing. So I need something that shows a weapon being enchanted. And that one might be... Where can I... maybe holy. Let's check holy. No. Maybe control. No, control doesn't really have a good weapon being enchanted. Air, yeah, I didn't think air would do anything there. Defensive? No. I might have to go back to... Lightning is just going to be all lightning. Yeah, I don't know which one here. Light. Oh, there we go. This is pretty decent. Alright, that's good enough for an enchanted weapon. Not a big deal. Alright, so there's a bunch of other things here that need to be put into place for the spells to show up properly. So for instance, we have 4 different styles of magical arts, and this one happens to be for enchant weapon, words of true power. So we're going to leave that there. This is an imbuement spell with, let's see here, none. Alright, so it's imbuement spell none, which means I'm going to have to add in a none here. Okay, so to get that to work properly, let's see here. Let me go into my my stuff, my coding. You can see the back end now. Okay, so this one's a little strange. There's a configuration file that tells me where all of my English words are, and then I can also directly access the English words while also telling Foundry where to find the English words. It's really a weird system, but it works. Alright, where? Character sheets. Okay. Character, experience rank, class, fatigue, skills, combat, monster. Let me go down to character sheet here. No. Okay. Alright. Let's see here. Fire. Where are you hiding? Control wind. Okay, perfect. Here it is. Life, force, mind, matter, time, space. Okay. Great. So we're going to add in another one here. We're going to call this none. And that's just going to be the word none. And then we're going to come over here to config and find fire again for elements. And we're going to tell it that we're going to find none at this location in GS for Goblin Slayer. Oops. Do that. GS for Goblin Slayer dot gear dot spells dot none. And then we can actually save that little comma there. Now this should be spells. Yes. We're going to spells. Okay, cool. So GS for Goblin Slayer, gears, and then we go down to spells. And within the spells section, we have none down at the bottom. All right, perfect. So now if we come back to here, reload the page, which is going to be happening often. This is just how this happens. Go back into spells, check enchant weapon, and now we have none. So all that just to grab this little spot that says none. Now for the difficulty check. Now the difficulty check is going to be a 10 based off of the rulebook here that I have, that I'm copying from the PDF. And the thing about the difficulty check is that you need to hit this number in order to cast your spell. And to cast the spell, there's no levels. There's no way of like, oh, I'm going to cast enchant weapon at level 2 or level 9. No, it's just how hard do you cast your spell based off of your check and your level. and then probably some other things going on here. So it's an interesting system where if you fall below your check, the spell fizzles and it doesn't go off. But anything above that, you can cast a spell, and sometimes, depending if there is an effectiveness score, which we will have, we will get to see how much better it does. So let's go ahead and fill out this top bit of information. We bestow your weapon with magic to increase the precision and power of your attacks. Okay, so that's some flavor text for the spell. Then we have the effects of what this spell actually does. So we have effect, imbue, target 1, one object in range, touch with magic power, adding modifier score to its hit modifier and power. This lasts for duration 1 hour. And then there's a bunch of extra text there. I'm not too worried about that for now. I'm going to leave that out. Let's see here. I got a cat in my way. Thank you, Dexter. Keep going. Come on. Yeah, all the time with the cats. Sir. Sir. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. There. Now I have... Nope. Nope. Oh, he's going in my lap now. Okay. As for the enchant weapon, the rest of it says any melee... actually, here, let me just bring it into view. Any melee and ranged attack made with this targeted weapons are treated as magic attacks. However, for ranged weapons, only add the modifier score to the hit modifier, not the power. So the weapon, the bolt itself, or the arrow doesn't get imbued with the weapon, which is, you know, an interesting way or a good way to make sense of for like 5e and Pathfinder and why they have enchanted weapons or why they have enchanted bolts and arrows. When targeting an arrow or bolt, you can add the modifier score to both the hit modifier and the power, so long as you use that arrow or bolt in a ranged attack. If the owner of the target object passes a spell resistance check, the spell has no effect. So that's that whole deal there. Then we have our effectiveness score, which I'll be adding in a minute, just to show you what it looks like. And then we have the chant, technically, Arma Magna Offero. Weapons, magic, offer. And you need beeswax, technically, for the catalyst to get this spell to go. Okay, let me put this back over here. All right, so we have our impromptu effects. We have our effectiveness score here, which we need to throw in. So we're going to go ahead and add in a table. And that's going to be, what was that, 4 columns and 2 rows. All right, so nice and simple. Let's see here. Effectiveness score. Oops, I always do that. 10 to 19, 20 to 29, and 30 plus. Come on, get that 0. There we go. And then the modifier score. +1, +2, or +3. So, how does an effectiveness score work? You might be asking me. Well, good question. You and me talking to myself. The effectiveness score comes from the total die roll from your DC check. So anything over a 10 is going to be your effectiveness score. So just for the sake of an example here, let me roll what this potentially could be. More than likely, yes, because it is an enchant weapon, we would be rolling an intelligence modifier plus whatever our sorcerer level was. So just for this instance, let's say it was a 2. And then there might be something else. Let's take a look at the character sheet, because that will tell me right off the bat what else we would need for a DC check here. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so for our spells, we use Intelligence Focus or Psyche Focus. So yes, this is kind of, the Psyche is kind of like a wisdom score. So we use Intelligence Focus, which in this case is going to be Intelligence plus Focus, a 4. Now if we had 2 levels in sorcerer, we would be then adding 2 to this check. And then we also add in our levels and any skills. Now, at the moment, I don't know what skills there are that could modify this. So we'll just say we're going to be getting a +6 for this particular roll. So then we would go ahead and roll our intelligence focus. And did I get it to roll? What's going on? Oh, do I have an error? Let's see here. It looks like I have an error. Okay. Unresolved string term, undefined request for evaluation. Okay. I have to double check this. Somewhere down the line, I forgot to fix this so everything else could roll. So I've got some in my code here. Let's see here. One of these. Roll with modifiers, more than likely. Somewhere in here, I've got a small bug that needs to be added in. I'll have to figure that out in a little bit. Anyways, for the time being, let's finish up this skill, or the spell here. We don't actually need to put in this stuff, but I just want to have it in here for the fun of it. We have Arma, Weapons, Magna, Magic, Ofero. And then the catalyst is Beeswax. Okay. So there's our spell. We have Enchant Weapon now. And we can go ahead and add this into our spell section. Where are you hiding? Perfect. There we go. And when we drag and drop, it immediately throws it in here. Now, as you'll see, it gives us a very little bit of information. More than likely what's going to happen is I'm going to have the Enchant Weapon or maybe the icon rollable. I'm not sure which one I want to do yet. But we have our DC check here, and then we can come in here and take a look at the rest of the spell to see, what's going on, our effectiveness score, if there is one, and, the other information for this. We can also delete this if we no longer have the spell or we shouldn't have had the spell, but for this purpose here, we're going to go ahead and see about rolling this. So now I need to go ahead and start making this check out. So I need to add in some stuff to my my spell here. So I need to take a look at some things. First of all, let me take a note here about fixing. Fix calc stat score rolls. All right, so that's another thing I have to take care of, since that's a little bit of a bug. And I need to pull up, what am I pulling up? Spells, my spell sidebar. Okay. Right, perfect. Now I should be in, no, that's worship. Oh no, that's words, excuse me. So we have ourselves, this is the words of true power here. Miracle, that's miracles. Then we have ancestral dragon, and we have spirit arts. Okay. Alright, right, the container here, perfect. This is that. Oh, this is just for each spell div. Oh yeah, no, I'm in the right spot. Okay, for a minute there I thought I needed something extra. No, I don't. Or do I? Where am I right now? Spell. Yeah, okay. If system, school choice, words of true power, grab the spell. Okay, yeah, this is everything I need. Okay. Alright, so I need to add in this. So because this all should be, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to go through and make these changes to everything at once. So all 4 of these spell sections are going to be getting the same code, and that's going to be reveal rollable as the class name for the container. And then just for the sake of it for now, we're going to go ahead and put the class name as what is going to be rolled. So let's see here. What am I saying? Spell roll? Sure, we'll just do that for now. And to double check, okay, everything else is getting the same thing. And then we need to come down in here and say spell. Actually, we don't need... Oh. Yeah, no, because the class name is already in there. We don't need to do that. We already have a class name, so we just grab in anytime spell name is clicked. Ah, silly me. What am I doing? Getting well ahead of myself. Or no, that's right. I need to make it actor roles. That's what I need. Yes, I need it to have actor roles. Okay. So let's go back in here. Okay, good. And actor roles should be first, followed by spell name, and then spell difficulty. It's been a little bit. Haven't been coding since Friday, so I'm a little off my game at the moment. Let's take a look at the sidebar here. Items. Okay. Character sheet. No, I don't want that. I want these up here. Now, ironically, I'm sure there's a better way to do some of this stuff, but it just wasn't working for me and causing me a lot more headaches than I'd like. Weapons card. There we go. Yes, actor role has to go first. Okay. And then the reveal rollable is going to be the container. Okay. Okay, so we have actor roles here for the spells tab. So anytime we have an active listener, so anytime this particular div is clicked, because it has the actor roles class, we now are listening for that click. And yeah, you can stay on the roof. My cat outside. So anytime that is clicked, the spell will then trigger this active listener, actor roles, and then we'll go into the actor roles binding. 1 second, folks. I think he's knocking on the door now. Yes, fine. Good job. You're inside now. Nope. You know, you're not coming on my lap. Anyone watching this live stream or seeing this later on would be like, what is going on with this guy? All right. Let's see. Okay, so we're going from this click down to actor roles, and I need to add in an event for that. So let's see here. Case. We're going to say, what's the case? Oh yeah, that's right. It's going to be spell name, because that's what I have there. So we're going to say spell name, and then we're going to say this dot, actually I'll just copy this. Events, okay. And we need to send in spell diff for difficulty, because we want to grab that container that has the value of the difficulty. And then we're also going to be sending in a base 2d6, which ironically, you know, the whole thing about don't copy or don't repeat yourself. I am repeating myself. I should basically just have that set as a default, to be honest. So I'd have to reorganize this a little bit, which I can do later on. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, the base is just 2d6. And then we are going to say, do I have a word for spell casting? I don't think I have a spell casting word yet. Let's see what do I have set up for spells. Spell resistance, spell uses, learned spell name, spell system, spells. Okay, so that's all I have. I can't snipe a word, so I'm going to have to recreate a word, it looks like. Or create a new word. where do I want to throw it? Dialogue? Yeah, I guess we'll throw it to dialogue here. Okay, so we're going to say a new dialogue for spells, and we're going to contain it in an object. So this one is just going to be spellcast. We'll say cast and spell casting. Now the fun thing about the en.json file here is that these are all the English words. If these were to be, if this game system were to be translated or want to be used in Japanese or Polish or Spanish, we could just create a new file for, you know, JP for Japanese, .json, and then recreate all these words in Japanese, and then it will, this one file translated will then be usable in those languages. So hopefully at some point I can get some translations going when the game is in a really good space. Alright, so this is going to be a spellcasting for spellcasting check later on. And we're going to go ahead and say, where was I here? Okay. Where am I at? GS dialogue, okay. So I got to change that to dialogue.spells.cast. There we go. And then the word here, this last word is primarily only important for weapons, armor, shield, ironically enough. All right, so after that, we're going to go ahead and make sure to break so we don't do a fall through on our switch statement here. And now with that taken care of, we will go ahead and jump to the roll with modifiers. So we'll jump up here to roll with modifiers and start checking everything. So we're going to grab the main container. We're getting the actor type, a bunch of other stuff that we need to know here. So if it's not a container and if the element isn't here, let's see here. Dice notation. Oh, pumpkin. I'm trying to think, buddy. Alright, so we got to get the value of the DC check out of that field. So where are we going here? Let's see here. I need to get the DC out of this field. And to do that, I could follow the dice notation thing, which is basically what I've been using to find the elements here, the value. So else if actor type equals monster. Let's see here. If mod selector, which is the mod selector? Get out of there. Okay, that's the mod selector. Alright, cool. So we can actually skip. We don't have to worry about the dice notation part. And we can just go, in theory. Let's see here. Alright, we can skip that and go right to character. And if mod selector, which is going to be .spell spell diff, I think we can throw that here. We can get the modifier there. So we'll say or mod selector equals spell diff for spell difficulty. The modifier is going to then get that. So we might have to set this up ever so slightly differently here. All right. Let's see here. So everything else, what else do we need to go through? All right, so we got a character check here. If the item type isn't one of those three, we're just going to skip it, which it isn't one of those three, which is great. So if mod selector equals power or spell res, we don't need Oh no, we do need one of these. Okay, so I want to skip through these. Actually, no. What I'll do is I'll make another else if here. So else if, actually this would probably be a good space for a switch now because it's getting so big. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just switch this to a switch statement. All right, refactoring in action. So we're going to switch on the oh no, I can't do the switch statement because we can only switch on one item here. That's why I'm not using the switch. Okay, so it's a little wacky here, but this will work because it's been working before. Okay, so else if mod selector equals spell difficulty. Actually, I think, yeah, I should be getting rid of the dots, I think. Or maybe not. Oh, yeah, I could also do item type here. I think the item type is coming from... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can totally do that. Okay. Alright, so if item type equals... What did we say when we sent it in? Where was it? Actor roles. Cast. Okay. Oh, shoot. Now I need to know... Crud. I need to know what else the... I need to know what type of spell it is. Ah, bugger. Okay. So we're sending in the event. Yeah, I don't... if I were to try and send that in... Okay. So this is where this is going to be a little annoying. Alright. Alright, so what I have to do then is say... current target... const target equals event dot current target dot closest, and we're looking for reveal rollable again. From there we go to how do we do that in the actor roles here? Was it the actor roles? Roll with modifier at the top, I guess? Oh, yeah, that's what we wanted. Oh, yeah, we already have everything. I'm redoing my work. And I don't need to. Okay, so we have the container. And from the container, we're going to... query, that's right, query selector. Okay. Which means then I have to hide. Yes, I need a hidden field here. So I need 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, and we're going to say input text type. I think this should be hidden. Type hidden. And we're going to say the value is going to equal... yeah, we need it to equal the... where is that? If we go back to our character, go back to our spells. Alright, So that's fatigue, that is attrition, skill spells. Okay. This will be faster. We're going to take a look at the actor in the objects here. So if we look at the actor and we look at the system and then we go to spells, I believe. No, spell use. No bother. No, all right. That's not what I want. I want items. There we go. Enchant weapon. Perfect. Okay. Ownership. System. School choice. That's what I'm looking for. Words of true power. So the value will be school choice. Alright, and then from here we need to say for each actor item, each items as item, we have that. Oh yeah, alright, so we'll just need item dot. Oh wait. Ah, darn it. Okay. Dot name. So we need to go into system and then school choice. That's what we need. Item dot system dot school choice for hidden value. And then we need to give this. No, I guess we don't. I think we can probably grab it without the class name. But yeah, that's probably fine. Okay. Alright, so now that all of our spells have a hidden school choice to it, we can go ahead back to the actor sheet and grab that. Alright, so const school equals, what was it? Back at the top here. Container. Container query select. There we go. Container dot query select, so we can select the hidden input. And we're going to say input type equals hidden. Bracket. We'll do that, and then we'll just say, okay, const. Wait, what am I doing? I think I can just do this and just say value. I should be able to just do that. Let's see if that works. And we'll just say school, hidden school. And pop in school here. And now we're going to go ahead and see what happens, because this is, it's going to give us an error, but I want to see what exactly happens here. All right. Let's check this out again. Scar. Go to spells, and I gotta see this up on the side. I'll bring that back into view. Okay. Alright, perfect. It did work. So even though we have an error right now, this of course isn't going to work because we have this not a number here. I have a piece of code here that's showing me before dice eval, which I can probably get rid of wherever that is. Yeah, alright, let me get rid of that because that was helping me figure something else out. And now we're seeing the hidden school value come up correctly. It's showing me words of true power. Perfect, that's what we want to see. So now we know what stat to pull in. Because the words of true power are the only ones that use intelligence focus. We can do an if statement for that to get the bonus from there for stat. So we'll say if school equals words of true power, right? Is that how it was written? Yeah, true power. Move that off to the side. And you know what? Just to make my life simpler, we're going to say two lowercase for the school, and then this will all be lowercase as well, just so I don't have any kind of weird errors. We're going to go ahead and say stat equals this.actor.system, and because I am repeating myself, I should really throw this into make this something as well. So we're going to come up here. Let's go ahead and copy all of this. And we're going to say, since we have that constant there, I'll just do another one. Constant actor calc stats equals this. Okay. So now, for all of this, we can just say actor calc stat as a reference. Makes life a little easier. And then we want intelligence focus. Else, anything else will also get stat equals actor calc stat, calculated stats dot psychic focus. Okay. Now we have the stat that we need, which will fill in that one. Class bonus. Yeah, we do need a class bonus. Okay. So the class bonus was up here somewhere. Getting monster to hit dice rolls, if any. Oh, I think my there it is. Okay. Oh, perfect. Yes. So from the item type, if case is cast, then we will do this. We'll put a break here so we don't forget about that. And we will say, let's see here, we can actually probably switch all this up into here since we're going to be doing this off the item type anyways for the character. So let's go ahead and move that up. No point in repeating ourselves. Go ahead and push that in there. We'll move that forward. And we will just reduce that again to this. And then from there, we also need to get the class bonus. So let's see here. Class bonus equals this dot get class level bonus. Type holder. What is the type holder? Get item type. Oh, that's what that is. Okay. So actually, oh yeah, that's actually really simple then. So we can, for the type holder, we can just say the school and the item type. Cast. Okay, so I'm going to have to modify get class level bonus now a little bit. And let's take a look at this. Alright, we're going to switch this to item type again. So we're going to say item type. So that's switched everywhere it needs to be. Excuse me. Alright, now, else if item type equals cast. Alright, give me excuse me for a few minutes while I go and let my cat out. He's being a pain. Come on, Pumpkin. Let's go. if some of you have seen my actual plays for all the various games I've played of 5e, 1D&D, Pathfinder, Tales of the Valiant, Pumpkin is notorious for needing to go outside at the worst possible times. So he gets to be a right pain when he is stuck inside. Okay, so let's see here. Item type is cast, and the type holder is going to be the name. All right, from here we will say if, what are we saying here? If type holder equals, oh yeah, and we'll do just 2 lowercase, again, just in case. Words of true power. Then we will say bonus plus equals, and I don't have fighter or scout set up, right? Oh, I can just do that. All right, let me get the levels here, the order in which they are. Levels class is perfect right there. So I need sorcerer equals 0, priest equals 0, dragon equals 0, and shaman equals 0. Perfect. Then we will say bonus plus equal right, and just for the heck of it, and sorcerer is greater than 0, we will add in sorcerer. So we will get the level to our bonus here. Okay. Else if type holder to lowercase equals, what is it? Miracle for, pretty sure it's miracle, right? There it is. Okay. Yeah. All right. So next is miracle. And what was it? Priest is greater than 0. We will then add in bonus plus equals priest. I mean, the irony here is that even if the priest is at 0, the bonus would still be a 0, so it's just 0 plus 0. We're kind of adding in an extra step here. It's really only important for these guys because you really can't cast spells unless you have a level in that class anyways. So these are kind of, these 2 spots here are just kind of silly to have. So we're going to just go ahead and go through the bonus, or go through these checks anyways. All right, then we will else if type holder dot to lowercase equals, and that one will be ancestral dragon. The bonus will be plus equals dragon. Gotta remember in my semicolons. And then we'll just do an else if check here as well. Type holder dot to lowercase. I like the shortcuts with VS Code, being able to just do a couple letters and then bam, whole word is there. Super nice. Last one is spirit arts. Great. And then we will say bonus plus equals shaman. All right. Now that should be it. I mean, technically these, well, no, that's all fine up in there. That can stay there. Yeah, so we're just going to go through. It's going to check for this. It's going to get our caster level if we have any. And then we will go back to here. Okay. So we're in our character. We're switching on the item type. We're saying the item type is casting. So we are getting the school name, and we are putting the school name into school, and if the school to lowercase is words of true power, the stat bonus is going to be intelligence focus, otherwise it will be psychic focus. And then we're getting a return statement from our get class level bonus for class bonus, and that should be those two. So stats and class bonus are there. The modifier is going to be the DC 10. So let me see here. Do we still have? Yeah, that didn't come through. Localized message. Dialogue spells cast. Okay, so the modifier is the one that is still not coming in correctly, it seems. Well, let's double check it actually. Now that we have this as far as we are, let's refresh. Go to SCAR, go back to the spells, click on that. Okay. Undefined, reading to lowercase. Alright, so in actor sheets 254. This is how this always goes down for me. I make a little change, something breaks, I gotta go and fix it. So we go to line 254, and we'll see what our problem is. So the quick for here is to go to line 254 with an Control G. Alright, so in our class level bonus, 254. Cannot read properties of undefined. Type and wait from... Oh, I see. Okay. Alright, so we'll do an if statement here. If item type does not equal... what was it? Cast? Yeah, I don't even remember. Actor roles. Cast, yes, okay. So, if item type does not equal cast, then we will just go ahead and do all of this. And I will, just for the sake of keeping everything indent and whatnot, we'll go and do that. Otherwise, we're going to ignore this line because we won't need it for the casters here, so we don't have to worry about that one. But if an item type does come through for our warrior stuff or monk and what have you, then this line will trigger. Okay. Let's now check this again. And you know what? Just because this is going to be constantly doing this, we're going to switch. Where is it? Template. Nope, I want this here. We're going to say spells for the initial. So that way we are constantly jumping into the spells page for the actor sheet. Okay. Perfect. Alright. Perfect. We have our 2d6. We have our 5 for the for our intelligence focus, which is... Oh, no. Intelligence endurance? IF, right? Did I say IF? I'm pretty sure. Let's go down into... Yeah, it should be IF. All right, let's take a look at this then. Let's go into the character sheet and see what we are getting for the calculated stats. So attribute, yes, where is it? Abilities. Yes, abilities. Calculated, and IF should be 4. Why am I getting IE or one of the other ones? Because it's telling me I'm getting a 5 next to the 2d6. So the stat. Oh, wait. I think I see what's going on here. It's getting, the stat is getting overlapped with TR. So if we go back to here, let's see. TR. Yep, that's why. Okay, I have a small bug in my code. Else if item type equals shield or item type, oops, I need that item type equals armor, then we will get the TR. So that should be working now. But the, what was it that was still coming up missing? We're still getting not a number here for the modifier. Class bonus is coming up as 0, which is fine. Let's double check that by giving ourselves some sorcerer levels. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to say 8. We suddenly have an 8 for our sorcerer level. And let's see what happens when we click on the spell name now. All right. So as you can see here, we're getting a 5 again, but that's okay because I didn't refresh. So let me refresh the page with the changes. We're going to click the... Oh, come on. Click that. Okay, now we're getting a 4 properly. So we're getting our intelligence focus. We're getting the 8 for having suddenly 8 levels in sorcerer. But our not a number here, that is still coming up incorrect for the modifier. So the modifier here, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, so else if actor type is character. All right, if the mod selector is power, which mod selector is spell diff for spell difficulty. Okay. Modifier equals parse int mod element dot value. All right, so what's the mod element? All right, yeah, so the mod element. Okay, so we just need to see what the mod element is then. Oh, all right. Well, yeah, the mod element came through right. Spell difficulty, we got a value of 10. We got our hidden school word of true power. And it should be parsing that out to a 10. Let's see here. Okay. Then modifier might be... Let's switch this down here. So now we can take a look at the modifier as well. Okay. All right, so that's where the problem is coming from. When it's trying to get the value. Oh, I know what the problem is. Okay. The value isn't stored in the div. The value is stored in the context inside. That's the problem. I'm thinking this is an input and not an element. So I actually have to switch this into here and parse it out through the text content. That's the problem. Okay. So all we got to do is just grab this and move it up here. Get rid of this. Okay. And then that should start working. Now the problem is it's going to mess up the dice rolls because the dice rolls aren't set for that. But it is coming through properly. So the DC is a 10. So we need to go to... Alright, we're going to our rolls to message. So dice rolls is going to be dice to roll 2d6. The stat is going to be a 4. Class bonus will be an 8, modifier, and localized message. So the modifier here... Okay. this is probably where we're going to make the message a little bit different with the localized message. That will be helpful. Okay. So for here, we're going to go to roles to message. I got to learn the keyboard shortcut to jump to that function or the method. All right, roles to message, label. All right, so here we're going to have to add in a check for the label. Actually, one quick thing. Let's take a look at this again, because this is not being localized at the moment. So that would be GS dialog spells cast. Now why is that not getting localized? Roll with modifiers. No, I want actor roles. There we go. Game 18I 18N localize. GS dialog. Spells. And cast. So that should be localized, but it's not coming through localized for some reason. Strange. All right. Well, let me continue messing with this for the moment. What did I do? Yeah. All right. So in here, we need to take a look at the label. If label equals cast, we're going to do something completely different. Else, we're going to do this. And let's add in some messages here so I know what's going on. So this one will say, if casting, use modifier as DC comparison or DC check. Else, add modifier to dice rolls. I have a very big head, and when I wear headphones for too long, it squishes my glasses into my head. So I had to take a moment there. All right, so how are we going to work this out? Because our label is saying rolling a casting check with the status. We're checking for criticals, which is cool. So we have our flavor down here, which we can add that in just in case we need to modify the flavor later on. And what else are we doing? Thinking about this one for a minute. Okay, so let's think about this here. We can probably add to the, yeah, we can definitely add to the status here. And put in something else afterwards. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to have to do the comparison down here rather than up here. Okay. So what I'm going to do then is say if label, well, first of all, let's get label right. Label does not equal cast. Then we will just go ahead and add the modifier to the dice rolls. Okay, so we're adding modifier to the dice rolls, else use modifier's DC check in roll evaluation down below here. So for that, then we're going to go ahead and say constant DC check equals, well, let's just leave this blank for the moment. We're going to say let DC check. And we'll say if label equals cast, then we'll go ahead and do a whole bunch of stuff in here. If, let's see here, how does the check for criticals work? You know what? I need to take a look at what the dice results looks like. Alright, so let's take a look at that. Console.log dice results. Okay. Oh, what do you know? It actually rolled. It's not supposed to fully roll. Alright, well that shows us everything is working properly. But, why is that still not coming out correctly? Whew, roll a 28! Okay. That's why that didn't come through properly. Okay, so first of all, I need to see why in the world... Oh, that's why. You see that little dot right there? That means this file hasn't been saved yet. Alright, let's try this again. That solves that problem. Okay. Oh, still rolled, which is surprising. Super data. Let's see here. What does the label say? Spellcasting check. Rolling a spellcasting check. Perfect. I want it to say that. Now. Oh. Okay, let's do this here. Const equals, oh no, const casting equals label. That way I don't have to keep rewriting it. Or no. Yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna, I know it's not supposed to be, it shouldn't be hard-coded, but we're just gonna leave it hard-coded for now. Oh, right. Const casting equals. This is how it should be. Spell casting. There we go. Perfect. All right, now we should be able to see what the dice results look like, the values and all that, so I know what I'm looking for. Oh, okay. So I have to add in, I have to add those in, because it doesn't, there is no innate thing, it does it in the function. Okay, all right. Very good. So then, okay. If label equals casting, and then we'll do another if statement in here. If dice, well, actually, we'll have to add them in together. So we'll say const dice total equals dice results array position 0 plus dice results array position 1, which will add these together. We now have the dice totals. If dice total, oh no, but we need it with the modifiers and everything. So we need to add everything in here. Plus, let's see here, plus stat, plus class bonus, if does dice results is greater than dice, actually I think it's greater than or equal to, yeah, greater than or equal to, as we'll see here in the effectiveness score. Our difficulty is a 10. Our effectiveness score is 10 or higher for +1, so equals to or greater. So then we'll say equals to or greater. Dice total. We will go ahead and say DC check equals, what are we saying here? All right, successful cast success. All right, so we're going to need to add those words into the dialogue here over on the side, but we'll worry about that in a moment. Cast success, effectiveness score. We'll do another break. Is what? What is the effectiveness score going to be? We will say that's going to be modifier, no, dice total minus modifier. Minus modifier. There we go. And the effectiveness score is going to be, we're using a shorthand thing to input our code directly into our dialogue here. Effect score. Else DC check equals, and we'll say break cast failed. Okay, so now we need to make some words here. Of course, I used cast already. Why did I do that? All right, you know what? We're going to have to modify this. scast. And then we will go in here and we'll modify that to scast. We'll come back up here and we will say cast equals cast. And then oh, I do have a success. And yeah, alright, so I don't have to, I can reuse those from the crits, which is good. Okay. And let's see here, so we're going to go ahead. This is going to get a little long and annoying, but this is just how it has to be. Game dot I18 dot localize. Oh, I need parentheses. gs dot dialogue dot spells dot cast. And we're gonna go ahead and just copy this, replace that, and then we can go ahead and say success. It's going to be crits dot suck, crits dot success. Failed is going to be crit. Oh, come on, crits. There we go. Dot fail. And then we need effectiveness score. I don't think I have. I'm not going to worry about checking for. Well, actually, I do have an effectiveness score somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay, and that one is hiding at gear.spells.efs. Okay, and just for the fun of it, we're going to go ahead and put in actually we'll do it else if here. Dice results is less than dice total, because I also need to make DC check blank. There we go. I want it to be nothing if we're not using it. Well, oh yeah, you know what? That was silly of me. Let me get rid of all this. And we'll say, here's where we're going to say it is blank. And then we come back down here, finishes up for DC check. I'm sure I'll rework this a little later on, but for now, that should work. All right, let's see here. Oh, it rolled. And our message says, oh, cast failure. That's not correct. 2d6, that's an 18. With a 10, that should be coming in fine. All right, so something's not checking correctly. Oh, that's why. I'm a knucklehead. If dice total is greater than or equal to modifier. There we go. That should be right. Ah, I always do that. Okay. There we go. All right. So cast a success. Our effectiveness score is a 12. So that would mean, or no. I don't think we, no, we don't subtract. we take the total. That's the effectiveness score, the dice total, and that's what we would compare to here. Otherwise, we would need crazy high, and I don't think we can get that crazy high of an effectiveness score. So, in essence, this should be a +2. All right, so let me go ahead and fix that. Let's see here. Effectiveness score is just going to be dice total, so we don't even need that. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay, that's working out perfectly good. So let me label this here. Setting up spell casting information. This is going to be checking for critical success / failure. Getting dice roll results so I know what is going on. And then sending dice rolls to chat window. Yeah, I already had it there, but let's move it up top here. All right, perfect. So that is that. Send basic message. We don't need you open. Roll with modifiers. All right, so let's go ahead and click on this a few hundred times to see what happens here then. So enchant weapon. Oh, I gotta reload actually. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna roll a couple times until we get criticals as well to see what happens. Too many dice on the screen. Okay, let's see here. For critical, it would be what? 8 plus 4 is going to be 12, plus 2d6 is going to be another 12. We would need a 24 for critical success, or... we were close there. A failure would be 12 plus 2, so 14? Looks like we almost had a failure here as well. Yeah, let's keep going. Oh, there's a failure. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I have to check for that as well. So on a failure, this should not be a success. At least as far as I'm aware, anyways. We had 2 crit failures, actually. All right, let's see about getting a crit success, just to see what that looks like. Ironically, at level 8 sorcerer, you can't fail unless you critically fail. 2 5s, 2 4s, 4 and a 6, 4 and a 6, 1 and 3. Oh, looks like that was another critical failure. Six and a 3, 4 and a 2, 3 and a 6, Yeah, it's called practicing. Indeed, Hair Doctor. 2 and a 6. Let's see here. Oh, another critical fail. Man, more critical fails than critical successes on these spellcasting checks, huh? Oh, there it is. Okay. Finally, after all that, we get the critical success. All right, cool. So there we go. That is what it should look like for the spellcasting check. Critical success, cast success. Very good. The effectiveness scores are 24, which is wild because that means at level 8 sorcerer, you still haven't hit this yet. So there's a skill somewhere that will increase the casting ability there. Actually, I have a website. Let me get the website up real quick and see if we can find what that skill might be. So luckily I found this website, Goblin Slayer TRPG.netlify.app, and spell list. No, I want skills. Here we go. Skills, spellcasting skills. Learn additional spells, gain a bonus to spell damage done, increase the number of spell uses, make it easier to get crits successes on spell uses, gain a bonus to monster knowledge, or gain bonus to spell use checks and spell maintenance checks. So yes, this is what we would want right here to increase the chance of being able to hit with a spell, or being able to use the spell, that is, because that's what you're doing. This is a spell use check, so I'll have to switch that from spell casting to spell use. So let me do that real quick before I go any further for the dialogue. Spell use. All right, and then I gotta switch that in a couple places. So spell use. Actually, we'll do SP. That'll make things easier to remember what's going on. And then from there, we need it to say, let's see here. Just want to double check my roll stat dice. No, not that one. Roll with modifiers, that's what I'm looking for. Power, okay, I think I'm using, right, I'm using the cast there. So I don't need to worry about that. I need spell casting, I need spell use here. Now, it's changed everywhere. Perfect. Okay. Oh, you know what? I should switch that too. So instead of it, yeah, this is what I'm going to switch this to. Game.i18.localize. And then gs. Dialogue.spells.spuse. This way, if this is translated, then whoever translates this or uses this in a different language shouldn't have to worry about, hey, why aren't spell rolls working? So I'm kind of fixing a bug for the future when, if and when this ever gets translated. So that way it's checking for the translation. All right, very good. Alright, so I have a couple other things I want to fix on the side, but I'm going to do those later. Let me get the hover effects working, because that's like the last thing I want to take care of first. Alright, so I need this to be checkable. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and pull up this, and off on the side real quick, I'm going to click on that. So now I can see this here and what it's tied to for CSS rules, because now I have to go into my less and CSS items, and we are looking for spells.less, And we're going to go with spell name. So single spell. Where am I doing here? Spell container. Spell use container. No, I don't want that. Spells holder. Okay, so I want the spells holder. Single spell. And then we're doing a div. And then we have spell name. Okay, perfect. So this is where I want this. I want dot spell name. And we're going to go ahead and do this. Cursor pointer. Oops. And then text shadow. 0.05 pixels dark red. And then we click some buttons. It's going to reconfigure some stuff for me. And now, in theory, this should have... Oh, well, it's doing the mouse thing, but I always forget to add in colon hover here. So it only affects on hovers. All right. That was the one spot that I needed to take care of. And that has that. What else was missing? Oh, yes, this was missing the thing here as well. So while I'm doing this, let me take a look here. All right, and then from there, we're going to go ahead and grab the sidebar, less page. Actor roles, char SR. So I need character spell resistance, and that's going to be stored in the sidebar. Okay, so I have the sidebar. There's nothing special here, so I'm just going to throw this at the bottom. Okay. And that should take care of that as well. Let's refresh. Oh, wait. Just like I was saying, I always forget to add in the hover effect. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Now this indicates rollable. This also indicates rollable, although I really need to put the dice into it, or do something where when I hover over the entire container, it changes the picture into dice like they do for 5e, because that shows like amazing context right there. All right, now let's just throw in a quick miracle or ancestral dragon and see what kind of spell, see if that works there as well. I just have to scan down to... Trying to get down to the... Oh, there we go. Miracles. Okay. I want something with... Do they have effectiveness? Silence? It doesn't really matter, the effectiveness score, in most cases. Miracles, cure, removes poison or illness, doesn't actually cure damage. Interesting. One creature within reach. If the target has several maladies, the caster chooses just one to remove. Oh, and it gives you different chance based off of who your deity is. Interesting. Alright, yeah, we'll just use this one. Alright. So we'll go ahead and create one more spell, just to check, and then I will be wrapping up this live stream, because I have some things I gotta take care of. Alright, cure. This is going to be a spell. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a nice cure. Icons, magic, I suppose holy? No, we want life. Yeah, there we go. That one looks like a good cure for the way it sounded. Alright, so this one's going to be a miracle. And this is a healing spell for life. So healing and life. The difficulty for this is also a 10. And then for the information about the spell, it removes poison or illness. So, from the sounds of things, there aren't too many conditions to worry about for characters. So, illness and poison seem to be two I'll have to remember. The effect is going to be removes poison or illness from target 1 creature within range touch. If the target has several maladies, the caster chooses just one to remove. Alright, too many O's. Several. There we go. No effectiveness score here, so we have a whole bunch of chance. Blah blah. Gods. Blah blah. For now. And the catalyst is none. There's no catalyst. Alright, now let's take a look here. Miracle gets dropped into its proper spot. It already has the hover effect for the cure, and let's see what happens here. Okay, it rolled, which is great, and it was a success. A critical success, no less. So we have... Good. We have our 5 here. For Psychic Focus, we have a 5. We're getting +1 because, ironically, we have a 1 level in Priest, so we're getting +1 there. And the total is an 18 with 2 6s. So, unfortunately, even though this is a critical success, we do get the spell to go off. We only get to cure 1 illness or poison from there. So, that sounds great. This is working as intended, which is good. And why not throw in the other 2 just for the heck of it? All right, let's get down to the dragon magic. Can I scan a little faster on the sidebar here? Maybe. Where are we at? Oh, yeah. All right, so... All right, perfect. We're at Dragon Ancestral Arts here. So we're going to do the Rust spell. Alright, that's a spell. Rust. Yeah, I don't know if I have any magical stuff for Rust. Or just Rust in general. Let's take a look at the weapons. Maybe there's something in swords that looks rusty. Nah. All that looks okay. Miscellaneous is just a whip. Yeah, ironically, there's like nothing that would indicate rust here. Alright, well, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna pick something. Yeah, alright, whatever. That's fine. Alright, so Ancestral Dragon. This is going to be a general spell, Wind and Time. So we can only pick one. And I will just go ahead and throw it in as Wind. Whatever. DC is 5. So this is a really easy rust spell to do. Causes metal to rust rapidly. No kidding. There's no effectiveness score on this one. But the effect is produce a mist in area sphere with 5-meter radius centered on a point within range 30 meters. Target all inside that area rust. Alright, and then there's more information here. Oop, I want bold. Bold, I forgot to do that for the other spell, but it doesn't matter. Okay. And the chant says a whole bunch of stuff. The catalyst is a dragon's tooth. Let's see, the chant is, "Oh, my forebears who sleep under layers of rock, with all the time that has piled upon you, guide these objects to deteriorate." That's a weird one. Okay, whatever. But we need a dragon's tooth for the catalyst. Interesting. All right, so we've got that there. We have our ancestral dragon here. We're going to cast the rust spell and see how that one works out. Dice is rolling. Somehow we got another critical. We've got no bonus, so as you can see here, that's only +5. Let's see, just for the heck of it, am I getting a critical again? No. Just somehow, after all that rolling, I got 3 crits in a row. That's ridiculous. All right, last one. Let's get the spirit arts going here. And we'll call this live stream an end. Spirit arts, snare. Give me something. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. Okay, one last one. Alright, this should be pretty straightforward. It's a control spell, so we want something to snare with. That's pretty snaring right there. This is a Spirit Arts, and this is going to be Creation spell for Water and Earth. Well, we'll just do Water. This is a DC 10. Let's see here. The effect is we produce sludge on the ground. Alright, that's a snare, sure. Sludge on the ground. The effect is change the ground within area, circle with a radius determined by the effectiveness score. Effectiveness score. Centered on a point within range 60 meters into sludge. Okay, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. Don't really care about it because we're not playing the game at the moment. We do have the effectiveness score. And with that effectiveness score, we're going to insert a table of, what is that? Columns. I need 5 columns and 3 rows. Alright, so we're just going to say score 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and 40 plus. Radius. Now this is wild because how effective your score is depends on how big your radius is. So you know at least you're going to get 10 meters for the first 2, 15 for the third, and 20 meters for your fourth one. And the duration is going to be 3 rounds or 6 rounds or 10 minutes. It goes 3 rounds, 6 rounds, 6 rounds, 10 minutes. That doesn't make any sense. Why would it jump so high? I mean, yes, the 40 plus is going to be extremely hard to hit, but still, that's just silly. For the catalyst, you need water and earth. And the chant is gnomes, undines, make for me the finest cushion you will see. Gnomes and undines. Okay, cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and throw that snare in there. We have our snare in our spirit arts. We're going to cast the the snare and see how effective this is. Okay, we got a 12. So the cast is a success because our DC is a 10. Yeah, exactly, Hair Doctor. Gnomes! Our effectiveness score is a 12, which means our spell does go off, but we only get 10 meters for 3 rounds. But hey, the stuff's working. All right, that is going to be it for me for now. This was fun getting this all together. I've got a couple things I have to take care of, but Beyond that, you've seen the inner workings of how the game is coming together, and a couple of other things here and there. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention here. Excuse me for the burp. Up at the top here, you have your spell uses, which is how you get your spells initially when you roll with them, when you create your character. You can get up to 7 total. You can get more beyond that, but it's really tricky. I think the maximum you can start with is 2. And then you can open up more as you get the, that one, what was it? This one here. Yes, no. Yes, this one, Magic Talent. Add 1 to your spell uses, and then you can get up to 5 more spell uses. So, if you want more than just 2 spell uses per day, you're going to need the Magical Talent skill. And then that will open up these here. So I'm going to have to make a note on that. No, actually, I can leave that. I'll leave it as is, because the spell uses will max out unless... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, that's what I need. All right. If statement for spell uses beyond 2. There we go. Cool. All right. So that is going to be it. That is some of what I've been doing, coding and whatnot. We've got the spell names rolling and casting and whatnot, and we also have, you know, we got the spell resistance stuff going there. And just so you can see, like, if we were to have another miracle of something else, they just keep filling in, like so. Until I find a better way to do spells. This was what I decided to go with. Alright guys, thank you all so much for watching this live stream, and I hope to do more in the future because this was pretty fun, having you all watch as I work out the code in the background. Alright, have a great rest of your day everyone, and I will see you next time.